Now it's time to take a look at the Object 120. This vehicle was added a while ago, but I didn't really have a chance to drive it, and that changed this morning when I got the vehicle from the historical trophy box. I got this completely by accident. I honestly did not expect that I would get anything, but it happened. Now, first thing I have to say, this thing has a big gun. That's a huge gun. But let's take a look at the stats. Now, it has a 152mm main gun. Obviously, it's a very big gun. Its length is 9 meters. Surprisingly, this is a fast vehicle. 64 km/h is top speed, reverse 15 km/h. It weighs only 27 tons. Average penetration, as expected, it is a lot, 480mm, reload 10 seconds. The armor on this vehicle isn't best, 30mm all over the place. So you can't really be expecting to bounce a lot of shells with the Object 120, but it is nonetheless a very interesting vehicle when it comes to survivability. It can take hits, but it is a tank and destroyer, so it's a vehicle that's obviously designed to be a sniper. I mean, just look at the main gun on this thing. This is a huge gun. This is probably the longest gun that we have in the game at the moment. And I was very test this thing out myself. Did not get the vehicle when it was originally launched, but I got it now, so let's see what I can do with the Object 120. Now, the speed of the vehicle is definitely nice. I like fast tanks, and this is definitely a very quick tank. Despite it being huge, it is surprisingly fast, although it's only 27 tons, so it's not much of a surprise. And as I said before, the armor on this thing isn't the best. The ammo is stored at the back of the turret, and it also has some ammo stored in the hull. So any high explosive shell that's going to the turret usually will detonate the ammo. So it's a vehicle that should be played as a sniper, and you should take advantage of any cover that you can find. And on this map, this position right here seems to be not ideal, but definitely does give you at least some cover, and you can shoot at the enemy tanks very easily. This tank does have a autoloader, that's why the loading doesn't take that much. It's very nice to have an autoloader at this tier. Helps a lot with the rate of fire, and combining a big gun with an autoloader is just one of the best things that you can have at the moment. That's a very good hit. It has APFSDS with, I think, over 500mm of penetration. Since the average is 480, I think it can penetrate over 500, but I'll have to double check the stats again. But yeah, one of the more powerful shells, and definitely one of the most powerful guns in the tier. However, it is a large caliber, so high explosive shells on this thing will be very nice. Look at this thing as a FV405, basically the Death Star, the crap barn. That's basically how this tank feels. But it does have APFSDS, which, you know, is probably the best shell type that we have at the moment, with the exception of ATGMs, which I would say is definitely the best weapon mounted on a tank at the moment, since ATGMs just penetrate everything. However, APFSDS does have speed. This is a very fast shell, very fast projectile, and it's able to penetrate literally everything. So you are pretty much covered when it comes to firepower on this vehicle. However, as I mentioned before, high caliber, has high explosive. You can use high explosive on this vehicle as well, since it has a lot of TNT, has a lot of explosive. It's able to overpressure literally all of the high tier vehicles, since the high tier vehicles don't have a lot of armor by default. So if you like to use high explosive, you can. It works really well on this vehicle. You can use APFSDS if you like as well. I mean, the shell that you want to use is up to the player. I like to use APFSDS since it has a lot of velocity. It's very easy to snipe with this vehicle, and it is just satisfying to send darts flying at the enemy tanks. However, I would say I do have quite a bit of high explosive shells on this thing, because high explosive can be very useful, and it's definitely smart to have high explosive with you at all tiers. Now that the 54 was hidden, this vehicle isn't that low profile, despite it looking like a low profile vehicle. It's definitely huge and tall, so you can't really afford to mess up positioning. If you do mess up positioning, well, any hit, I mean, a auto cannon penetrates the turret of this vehicle. And originally when I looked at the Object 120, I thought that it would be, you know, maybe armored. I wasn't really that sure of what type of vehicle this would be, but turns out it has no armor. And honestly, I'm not really complaining about the lack of armor. I was a nasty shot, by the way. I'm pretty happy with the overall performance of this vehicle. I'm not really sure why players dislike the Object 120, because I'm actually having a lot of fun with it, and you do have a good gun. I mean, in high tier you can't really rely on armor anyway, so armor or no armor, armor in high tier is only usable on a very few select vehicles. For example, the Mouse STRV-103C, the ZTZ with composite armor. Vehicles like that do take advantage of armor if they can, but for most vehicles armor isn't really that important when it comes to high tier, and this counts for the Object. Might be the fact that this thing is huge. I mean, you can have a large gun mounted on a small tank. That would be kind of funny. So overall, so far from what I've seen and from what I played, I'm pretty happy with this vehicle. Very happy with the Object 120. It is maneuverable, definitely much more maneuverable than I expected. I originally anticipated this to be a slow vehicle, slow moving big tank, but to my surprise it's fast as a medium tank. Even the turret rotates in a decent speed, so can't really complain about the objects at all at the moment. Even the shell is actually really nice. Now I don't know where my shell went there. I think I hit the ground there, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. And I have a high explosive shell that destroyed the track. Next is APFSDS. I use both shells simultaneously. And now it penetrates the tree. Okay, not really sure where my first shell went. That was definitely weird. Let's see if I can... Okay, I'm not going to get a kill, I guess. That's fine. Almost forgot to mention, artillery shells are a threat, since you have absolutely no armor. If you get hit by artillery, it's game over, especially if this thing gets hit in the turret. The weak spot is literally the turret. Anywhere in the turret has the same armor, just about anywhere, so you have to be careful not to get hit in the turret. Definitely a stealthy, long-range vehicle, capable of blowing up a tank from a very long distance. I mean, I don't know what's the shell velocity of this APFSDS shell, but I think it's pretty high because it's, again, a huge shell and a huge gun. Usually a very long gun tends to have very high shell velocities, especially if you are firing the APFSDS, they are the faster shells. Well, maybe I do get a kill or two since there is a CM25 card. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's the CM25 destroyed. And the second kill, okay, that's nice. And there is a Raketenjagdpanzer over there. I'll use high explosive for this one. Should be able to just destroy the vehicle since... Yeah, and ATGMs are one of the main threats for this vehicle, since you have no armor. ATGM can overpressure. Okay, I hit something, I'm not really sure what, but okay. High explosive ATGMs, stuff like that. You do not want to get hit by that while driving the object. Usually a one-shot kill when it does hit you. That's some lovely accuracy there. Loading the magic dart since I ran out of high explosive. And there we go. That was nice. Nice. 8 kills, 9 kills, 8, 9 kills, I don't know. It was pretty good. Not a bad first match with the objects. Very good match. Let's go to the next one. Now, how do you even play this vehicle? Well, play it as a sniper. A sniper, a vehicle that tends to be on the outskirts. Basically, a vehicle that should go towards tactical positions, acquire a tactical sniper position and stay there and just shoot as many tanks as you can. And that's basically what I've been doing with the object. Surprisingly, the playstyle of this vehicle does suit me really well. That's the first kill, ammo destroyed on the Leopard. I love the reloads for this huge gun. You don't really have a lot of 152mm guns in the game that reload as fast as this does. And there is definitely a big bonus for this vehicle since it does have APFSDS in, I think this is like tier 7, so you can fight tier 6 vehicles with APFSDS, and that is kind of wild when you think about it. Because I don't really think there is a different vehicle in this tier with this shell type. And I mean, I already mentioned APFSDS is basically the best shell in the game at the current moment, with the exception that I would make with ATGMs, since I would say ATGMs might be the best weapon mounted on a tank, or should I say on an armored vehicle. ATGMs might not have the same velocity, but they can have laser accuracy, and they also do have literally the most damage, especially those higher tier ATGMs. Okay, that was a bad shot. I hit the house there. Maybe the next shell will go through. I kind of wish that this vehicle was a bit more low profile, but I guess this will do. Can't really have it all, I guess. It has to have some drawbacks. But if this vehicle was just a little bit lower, it would be a very scary pancake, that's for sure. Another downside on the size of this thing, you can't really fit it in all possible hiding spots, since again, it's big and this thing does need a lot of space, so you definitely need to find a very long rock or something where you want to hide this thing. Hiding while reloading is not really a big problem, but the main problem is when there's bombs or artillery on your way and you have to move. You don't really want to move in the open and be basically roasted by the whole enemy team. You want to move while having some form of cover, and that's quite easy to do with other vehicles. With the Object 120, because of the size of this thing, it's a bit different, or should I say it's a bit more difficult. So that's the thing about the Object 120. However, not really a big deal. At least for me it's not a big deal, since I'm fairly sure I know all the spots where I can go to. The reverse speed is decent, absolutely usable, and definitely more than enough to get your vehicle in cover. I do like vehicles with very good reverse speed, like for example the AMX 50, the AMX 30 B2 for example has a very good reverse speed of 65 plus km/h. But this vehicle does get the job done with its own speed, so I'm not going to be complaining too much about it. It doesn't have any machine guns though. That's a maybe potentially a significant drawback. Usually machine guns are very useful when you're dealing with, let's say, aircraft, when you're dealing with lightly armored vehicles. Unfortunately with this vehicle you don't get any machine guns, which I guess maybe is fine, since you do get a overpowered main gun. A machine gun would be way too silly on this thing. However, in some cases a lack of a machine gun could potentially be problematic. I haven't really had the chance to test out the gun depression on this vehicle, but based on the length of the hull, I would say the gun depression might just be average. I don't remember seeing this vehicle in any hold down position myself. I mean, there is not much of a point in a hold down position on this vehicle, since it has no armor, and the turret is actually quite big, so not really a vehicle that should be in a hold down position. If you do have some cover and if you can hide the whole vehicle, then I guess might be okay, but for the most part I don't really see a hold down position to work that well on the Object 120. Definitely a good vehicle for hiding behind rocks, that's for sure, but I haven't seen and I haven't tested out a hold down position at the moment. But based on the hull and based on how this thing looks, I wouldn't say that it has some good gun depression, since it's huge. It's definitely a very big tank. They did not call the update for the Object big guns. They definitely did not call that for no reason. This is a very big gun for sure. Also a very nice little flying turret there. Object 906. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'll make a thumbnail for this, because the gun is just so long. I'm not really sure if I can even include the gun in the whole thumbnail, just because it's so long. But yeah, the gun on this thing is, I think, my favorite part on this tank destroyer. It's insane, and definitely one of the more insane vehicles that I've used so far. And I knew that I would like this thing. I knew from the very start when I saw this thing that I would actually like it, because all I need is a speedy tank and a big gun. That's all I need. And honestly, this thing has been a blast so far. Very enjoyable to drive. I don't know why this vehicle was not hated, but a lot of players did not really like it. I don't know why. I'm just having a blast with this thing. It's crazy. When this thing hits, it hits, that's for sure. It leaves a huge crater and probably a tank blown to bits. I mean, 152mm of APFSDS has to be nasty. It's definitely very, very fun little vehicle. Well, little in this case. I can't really call this thing little, it's huge. Definitely a big tank. But with that being said, that would be it for the Object 120 for now. Definitely a vehicle that I'll be driving a lot more because this thing is simply awesome. And well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe. As always, I'll see you next time.